Hello and welcome back to another episode of Unsolved, where we break down unsolved mysteries, analyze cold cases, and hopefully find answers. Today, we are going to take a look at the Zodiac Killer. There have been so many theories about who this mysterious killer could be, but there hasn't been a suspect that has stuck out as the one true killer until now. Maybe. A man named Gary Francis Post has come forward claiming to not only know who the Zodiac Killer is, but that he is related to him. Let's dive into this case and see if these claims hold up. The letters were written on a typewriter and signed with this strange symbol that has become synonymous with the Zodiac Killer. One of these letters even contained a cryptogram. In this message, the writer describes committing several murders and claims to be holding 2 more victims. With the help of a local newspaper, the code was broken and it was revealed to read, but now there is a potential new suspect. A man named Gary Francis Post came forward claiming that not only was he related to the Zodiac Killer, but that he knew who he was. First of all, Arthur Allen was investigated extensively and was almost certainly ruled out because he had a solid alibi for the night of Stein's murder. Secondly, the police have not been able to confirm that Gary's father was ever in San Francisco. If not, who do you think was responsible? Or do you think there were multiple people involved? Also, if you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like and subscribe. I truly appreciate when you do, and I love being able to bring you guys these videos. Thank you so much. And I'll see you soon. Sure, he may have traveled there, but if he was really the Zodiac Killer, why would he stay in the same city as the crimes he was committing? Thirdly, they have not been able to connect any of the physical evidence to Gary's father. And lastly, how could Gary be so sure that his father was the Zodiac Killer when he was just a child? How much do you really remember from when you were a child? Not very much. This story sounds more like something that happened in the show American Crime Story than it does reality. I mean, this is crazy. His uncle, Arthur Lee Allen, was a prime suspect in the case for a while. Others think that there were multiple killers, but that they didn't work together. And others think that it was all just one man. There are so many theories and so much speculation. It is hard to separate fact from fiction. But after DNA testing of his blood proved that he was not the killer, he was cleared. Now, Gary wants to tell the world that he believes his own father was the killer, despite him being dead for 16 years. He says that his dad told him about the crimes when he was just a little boy, and that his father even showed him the supposed murder weapon. Gary didn't come forward sooner because his father had passed away, and he didn't want his son to grow up thinking that he had a criminal in the family. I hope you're having lots of fun trying to catch me. He also claims that his father brought home souvenirs that matched items mentioned in the Zodiac Killer's letters. This includes things like the bullet casings, the blue handkerchief, and even the key to the bag that was used to hold Paul Stein's wallet and other belongings. Gary says that he remembers finding the key in his father's toolbox. And according to him, this is far from the only evidence against his father. He says that his dad also kept a scrapbook with newspaper clippings of every Zodiac Killer crime. And if all of this wasn't enough, Gary claims that his father confessed to him on his deathbed, telling him to turn the diary over to the police. But when the police searched the house, they were unable to find anything. According to Gary, the diary was given to the FBI and the media was notified. But the FBI claims that they have no record of receiving the diary and the media seems to have. forgotten about this story pretty quickly. But Gary is still convinced that his father was the Zodiac killer and that the evidence proves it. I was only 17 when my mania started. By the time I'm done, I will have killed more than 30 people. Obviously, the police were eager to find this madman and put an end to his crimes, but the Zodiac killer continued to evade capture. On December 20th, 1968, Paul Stine was picking up a hitchhiker along Geary Boulevard in San Francisco when his taxi was hailed by another passenger. However, he is also suspected of killing many more people after he stopped sending letters to the press. And this is where things get confusing. On October 11th, 1969, a couple was out camping when they were attacked by a mysterious assailant. The man was stabbed multiple times and the woman was shot. They survived, but the killer was never caught. But the police believe that he may have been the Zodiac killer. That makes 7 potential victims. Then there was the case of Mary Jane Jones. On July 5, 1969, she was found lying next to the road. She had been strangled with a pair of pantyhose. Later, the police would learn that a man matching the Zodiac killer's description had been seen with her, making this case yet another possible connection to the killer, bringing the count up to 8. But none of these attacks were as brutal as his last. He stopped to pick up this woman, dropped her off at Laguna Honda Hospital, and then went back to the area to search for more fares. When they were approached by a man pointing a gun at them, this man forced them out of the car and shot them both dead in front of each other. This was the last known attack committed by the Zodiac killer, his rampage seemingly coming to an abrupt end. And as you can imagine, the police were desperate to catch this killer. As they investigated Stine's murder, they quickly learned he had picked up 2 passengers, a man and a woman, and then dropped the woman off at the hospital before being shot. They weren't sure if the woman was a witness or if she was involved, so she was questioned. She said that she had been dropped off at the hospital and that she had no idea what they were talking about. The police didn't believe her, but they let her go anyways because they didn't have enough evidence to keep her. What they did have was a witness who saw a man running from the scene of the crime. This man had described the killer as being around 25 years old, with a heavy build, short dark hair, and was wearing a black leather jacket and blue jeans. Police also had a small piece of the killer's disguise, a dark blue handkerchief with a white design on it that was found near Stine's body. It looked similar to a part of a larger pattern, which the press pointed out in their coverage of the crime. One day, someone sent a letter to the police mentioning the handkerchief and claiming that the killer had taken the other half. Little did the police know this was the beginning of a long game. This was around 2:45 a.m., Christmas Eve. A few minutes later, police received a call reporting a shooting in the area. Upon arrival, they found Stine slumped over the steering wheel of his cab with a single gunshot wound to his chest. Sadly, Paul Stine did not make it. Before this crime, there had already been 5 other killings linked to the mysterious Zodiac killer. Over the next couple of years, the police would receive letters from someone claiming to be the Zodiac killer, giving them clues about himself and even taunting them. In total, 5 people were murdered during the Zodiac killer's rampage, including Paul Stine on September 27, 1969. David Faraday and his girlfriend, 17-year-old Brenda Ball, were parked in a secluded area. Now, up until recently, all of the police had to go on was the witness descriptions and the cryptic messages left behind by the killer. It seems that Gary's father was not the most attentive parent, and that he spent much of his time away from home, traveling, which Gary believes was to follow the path of the Zodiac killer. But there are some flaws in this theory. This case is far from solved, though. Many people believe that the Zodiac killer was actually two different killers and that they worked together. What do you guys think? Do you think that Gary's father was really the Zodiac killer?